Hi, my name is Jen. I am a soon-to-be self-published author, bumbling my way through the process from first draft to first publish. And today I'm going to be continuing the conversation on how I have engaged with alpha readers. We've talked about how I found alpha readers, how I got them signed up, how I did confidentiality, how I handled getting them physical copies of the book. Today I want to talk about how I am getting feedback from my alpha readers. So I hinted at a little bit in the confidentiality week, but I did use Google Forms. That was not my original plan. Just like with the book, original plan was to get them just digital copies, and then I was able to get them physical copies. With confidentiality, original plan was headers and footers. That didn't work when I went to print. So again, I'm learning as I go. My original plan as far as getting feedback was to have basically a weekly meeting. So we do a week of the study, and then we get together and we would talk about it, and I would get feedback. And then we do a week of the study, get together, talk about it, get feedback. The problem with that is that everybody's schedules just didn't line up, so that did not end up working out. And it also would have given me very generic feedback at the high level, which I think could have been valuable. But at the end of the day, being able to get feedback on each of the individual days in the workbook has been far more helpful. So the one downside of getting all of my feedback through Google Forms has been that there is no accountability in terms of time frames. So if I had written a nonfiction or a story, then I think that most people expect their alpha or beta readers to take a week or two. I have written a Bible study, so people are basically doing one day of the study every day, and a lot of them, none of them, including myself, are doing one every single day, which means that it is consistently not going at the pace that I was expecting. But I feel like I've gotten really good feedback, and so it's worth it that things are going slower than I expected, and I feel like I'm going to give a more finished draft to my beta readers because of the quality of the feedback I'm getting from my alpha readers. So it's one of those trade-offs of how quickly do you want something done, contrasted against how well do I want it done. So what I did is I created 3 Google Forms. So the first Google form was all about the front matter in the Bible study. So, introduction, who am I, what's going on, whatever, right? Pre-work, all the rest of that. And then I created a Google form for each of the days of the study. And it's literally the same form. Because the Bible study has a structure, I was able to just build questions that fit with that specific structure. And then there is another form for them to complete when they have finished the study as a whole. I intentionally made the feedback survey for the day very short. I fill it in every single day. I do the study, and then I fill in the feedback survey, and it usually takes me 2 to 3 minutes. It could take longer because there is a place to put in comments, but it is very much intentionally designed to be something that people can do simply and easily, quickly on a daily basis. On that form, there's a place for them to enter I just completed day 12 or I just completed day 5. And then when I'm looking at the feedback, I can just filter it on all the feedback for day 1 or all the feedback for day 2, which has allowed me to create essentially this tracking sheet. So I have those Google Forms pouring into this file that is on Google Drive, and then I'm using that to manually create this tracker. I did remove people's names. I just labeled them all with numbers. And so that's where we're at with the alpha readers. I am excited because I feel like I'm making good progress. I am recording this on March 12th. This is going live literally the day I returned from writing retreat. And so I didn't want to be fooling with this on that night when I was getting home. So this status is a little bit behind where I want it to be, but it is not terrible. It's not so far behind that it's there's no way this book's going to be published in October like my goal is. But at the end of the day, I would rather have a well-finished book that has good feedback that I've been able to make the correct changes to than have a book that is done by a certain deadline, right? And so I'm very thankful for how they have paced their feedback on this alpha process. So, the feedback itself, the form, obviously no one has completed the form that goes at the end. That one is going to take longer. I think it's probably going to take about 20 minutes to complete well. And I don't know if people are like keeping it open and putting notes in it, or if they're just going to wait and look at it at the end. I don't really know the answer to that, but I do know that because people are sending in essentially a form every time they complete a day of the study, it has allowed me to already start editing. So as you can see from that screenshot, I'm already in the process of editing day 5. Again, I'm a little further behind than where I would like to be, but at the same time, it has made some pretty significant improvements to it already, and changing just the structure of how the study is going to work. So I am so abundantly thankful to my alpha readers. I have gotten some very good quality feedback. I will say sometimes reading feedback is hard. Maybe someday I'll write a video or a blog or something about how to handle feedback, because it has been rough. There are some days where I just want to cry because all I hear are the negatives, but they have provided positive and negative feedback, and I just have to remind myself to focus on the fact that they are providing feedback that can improve what I've written. They are not providing feedback on me as a person, and I know that that goes back into the roots of what imperfect progress is all about, and making that steady progress. So I am incredibly thankful to all of my alpha readers. I'm thankful to the people that have signed up to be beta readers, and I'm thankful to you for being on this journey with me. I hope that you have enjoyed watching these videos. I hope you're learning maybe from my process and the mistakes that I am making. Again, I feel like I've made 18 adjustments of how I want to do things different next time, and I'm hopeful that this process gives you some insight into how you might want to go through the process of getting a book published. So have a great week. Happy Monday, and I will see you in the next one real soon.